Hello, we're the Wagnans. I'm Don Wagnan, and we have been a member of Grace Harbor since September of 2023. We got married in Panama City, Panama in 1994. I was in the military, so we spent 20 years in the military, and the Lord allowed us to live in Panama and Germany, and we've traveled the country.
And we have pretty much just traveled wherever his job took us. And all the while I worked at Walmart. I just retired after 28 years with Walmart. So
Our relationship with God's church when we got married was I was just fitting in wherever they needed somebody to work. I did whatever was needed. After that, we moved to Texas, where I worked with Awanas. I became a youth pastor working with teens, and I did that all the way up until our kids were in high school. I was either a youth pastor or a deacon, but I was always involved in the church doing something wherever there was a need.
And we kind of just raised our kids in the church. Our kids didn't play a lot of sports. They didn't do a lot of things extracurricular, but they were always in church. They were always involved. We were involved in Awana's youth ministry, whatever was open for us to serve. That's what we did. And so in 2011, we experienced a church split. It was really difficult at the time. There was a lot of pressure on Don because he was kind of put in a position that was very difficult. And it was just a really difficult time trying to decide what we needed to do moving forward.
Being put into a position as the head deacon, our head deacon had left the church, some animosity between him and the pastor, which through all of that ended up the church splitting, and there was a exit strategy in place to kind of ease the church into it. But on Sunday, the pastor got up there and just took it upon himself and kind of made it into a division. And the result of that night, some people from church came and set our cars on fire because of it. And that was really devastating to me as the spiritual leader, and a lot of questioning to me, like there's a whole lot of why is this happening to me? I had to go through that for God to get me to Grace Harbor. I tried to stay in the church to help them find a new pastor, but I just felt it was in the best interest of all of us spiritually to take a step back and go to a different church, which we did. We went to that church for a while, and then we were in that church, and because of doctrinal differences that appeared a couple of years later between the pastors, that church split. So we stayed at that church for a season. The new pastor came in, and that pastor ended up having an affair. That was the final straw for me. I just was so angry about all of the situations and what happened to me. Why is all this happening in the churches? That I took and just said, God, I'm just not going to go to church anymore. I made myself available to work on every Sunday to give me an excuse not to go to church.
We went through about 15 years of hard things in church, 2 church splits, a doctrinal difference, and then a moral failure of a pastor, like all these things just stacking on top of each other to the point to where we were just really like, God, what is church about? What is this that you're calling us to do? Because we don't get it anymore.
But God's grace, he didn't let me go. We started watching services again because I was done with the American church. I love Jesus, but I was not real big fan of the church at the moment. Just started watching services again. Through that, the Lord convicted me and said, okay, are you done playing games? It's time to get back in church. And we were tired. We were going to go travel the country, which meant we probably wouldn't be in church. And God changed our plans and said, no, you need to go to Grace Harbor. And so we moved up to here and became a part of the church.
So over the past 18 months, God's really been working in my life, mending broken things, healing hard parts. I've really taken advantage of the things that Grace Harbor has to offer, like cohort classes and women's ministry Bible studies and things like that. I've been building friendships, which has been very difficult for me previously because of all the things. It's been really hard to make friends, keep up with friends when you're moving churches or when you're just not in church. So he's given me friendships. He's given me a community group that is just amazing. Both of us, I think, have been able to really heal through conversations and just prayer and being able to be open and honest. So I think God has just been really working to just quietly but but steadfastly mend all of the pieces that are just kind of ripped apart. And he didn't forget how the edges go, so he put it all back together.
For me, the mending part, I think, is just reestablishing my love for the church and what the church is, the people. I think that the church hurt is natural in our culture today. I think that a lot of people, especially here, just talking with people, it's something that a lot of people have experienced. And being able to come here, God has put me in a situation where I've had the past year of being able just to dive into His Word, to be able to spend a lot of time in prayer, to be able to help one-on-one in the discipleship classes. Like I said, I never fell out of love with Jesus, but it was the church, and He's reestablished that passion for me for the church and what the church is about and what the church is here for.
I've learned through Psalm 136, God is faithful. He's faithful through anything you can imagine, any stage, any situation. He's always there. He's always faithful, and He doesn't let you go. So don't let go of Him.
How would I counsel somebody that's gone through similar church hurt? Um, don't do what we did. I look back now and see it was a mistake to just stay out of church and kind of internalize everything and try to do it on my own. I think that the biggest key is to stay faithful, because God isn't surprised. He wasn't surprised when our trucks were set on fire. He wasn't surprised by the church splits that we've gone through. Because of all that, I would go through it again 100 times out of 100, because I wouldn't be sitting here right now had I not gone through that. God had to take me through all of that to get me here for the purpose that He's got us for this season.
I think my hopes and dreams for Grace Harbor Church are just that it continues, that it grows, it's able to multiply into the neighborhoods that we are looking to multiply into. I think there's a great foundation here that can be replicated in other areas, and I think that's what New England needs, is just, solid churches with solid leadership and faithful attendees that are willing to just share. That's really all it is. We just want to share.
I think the past two Sundays, you see it. We've had people baptized each Sunday. One of those individuals is in our community group, and you just get to see the growth and the excitement behind that, knowing that those are just two of many that are going to happen through here. And it's just not Grace Harbor. It's when we go to Fall River and we get to pray in that building, anticipating that one day that church is going to be open, and it's going to be Grace Harbor #2 in Fall River, but it's going to be winning neighborhoods to Christ.